My name is Mark Scarell. I'm from the Ithaca area.
He's come Friday night. He came to the Bhajans on Sunday, and he's here. I think you said, like, what does it take? Was it like more than an hour to get here, right?
Oh, it's about an hour and a half from where I live.
Okay.
It's not too bad.
Not too bad. Only 3 hours round trip.
So I was reading this book by Anatta Campbell called The Ordinary Buddha, and there's a chapter on you in the book.
Yeah, Anatta. She's a very close friend of mine, actually.
Anatta, yeah, Anatta, okay. So then I was just recently reading the book, and then I looked you up on internet, and then I saw you were coming to Rochester.
So
it
was
was just
through
like
her book.
Yeah.
Because she wrote me a note just today, and she says, I don't know if you know it or not, but I posted a little thing on Facebook, and I said, I don't check it that often. What did you say? And she said, I just sent you a copy of it, So I read that just this morning.
Really?
Yeah, I did.
Let's see. So I guess I have an issue. About 5 years ago, I had a really powerful experience with a teacher where I'd say I was lit up for maybe 3 months.
Mm-hmm, right, that's a good light up.
So it was a direct...
It is, really. Mine only lasted 3 weeks, man. 3 months is going good.
So, I just went up to talk to him, ask a question. I think I was giving a report, and it was like direct transmission, I would say.
Right.
So there was a lot of bells and whistles and lights and all that stuff. But when that cleared out of the way, or sort of what I saw was that I was just this aware space.
Right.
And that's, even though it wasn't like a permanent fixture in my experience, it was always, you can always refer to it.
Right.
I mean, it's
and did you also get
referable.
a sense that it was also kind of, even when you didn't experience it directly, you got a sense that it was still present,
Yeah. And so I sort of went crazy after that. I went to see every teacher around, and I read all his different books and saw all the different DVDs that people were turning out. So I got to know the whole scene, kind of, which was, but that seemed to be what I needed to do,
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know where the energy came from, or...
It's kind of like I was speaking before, you were kind of like Suzanne Siegel. You have this experience, but then later on you can find the context so you don't feel like you're going crazy,
Yeah.
Beautiful, I get that.
And
and now where are you?
well, now I'm still reading, and I'm still going to a few retreats occasionally, and I came up here to see you, but what I'm finding is that it's more important just to be,
Right. Beautiful. Thank you.
So like go for a walk, or just sit in my house, or, it's a different thing now. It's sort of like the percentage of beingness increased, and the percentage of thinking and being motivated and running around and doing all that stuff sort of decreased.
Yeah.
And
I love this. You just reminded me of this poem by Havas, where it's called "When It's Not Too Dark," and it really addresses, well, what happens when you come into consciousness? What do you actually do? And the first line is, take a walk if it's not too dark. Say hello to a kind-looking friend if one happens to pass by.
yeah.
Always remember one's heart's true knowing. Take your lover in your hands like you did, into your arms like you did when you first met her, and look into their eyes. Look into their eyes as if you saw them for the first time.
Nice.
So
What was the name of the poet?
Havas. It's H-A-V-I-S.
Oh, Hafiz.
Yeah, people say Hafiz, and I used to always say
That isn't
Hafiz.
how it's pronounced.
No, I actually found out that, I actually didn't believe it. The story is that there was a scholar, and he says, I do translation, it's Havas. And I said, oh no, you must be wrong. Everybody says Hafiz. And just understand, I'm a scholar. I know this. No, you're wrong. And then I went to see The Mummy.
Oh, yeah.
And there was this Middle Eastern guy in black. He was the bad guy.
Uh-huh.
His name was Havas. Havas, Havas. Oh, Havas. He was right, it's Havas.
Wow.
But instead of, it's more like Havas. And the bunny was like that. So, yeah, Havas.
Great. He's like my favorite poet.
Absolutely. My
It's beautiful.
Arms Above All the Others, my favorite, yeah.
And so I don't think I have any, I mean, everything seems to be, tooting along according to its own intelligence.
Right. Well, I love the share was so important because it really kind of personally chronicled kind of how it happens. I would have my own version of it, but it would be just like that.
Did you ever have the experience with Papaji where did he tear you apart at any point?
Oh,
I mean,
tear me apart. Those of you who know my story, it's like it was brutal. All
Really?
right? It was brutal. But he told me later. I mean, he kind of made it clear. It's like in the community I was known as Coconut Head. In the in Indian pujas, as you probably know, they have a coconut that gets cracked over the lingam, right? And they pour the water.
Oh, yeah, I
over
don't
it.
know.
Yeah, so that's very traditional, right? But when you see them do it, the lingam is like stone, right? Cement, and they're taking the coconut and they're slamming it as hard as they can. Usually it takes 4 or 5 good hits before it breaks open, right? Well, I was Coconut Head.
Wow.
It's like the water inside was the elixir, that was the amrita, that was the taste of immortality, but it was all inside the coconut.
Uh-huh.
So basically he had to get my head and slam it against that lingam many times before, it was brutal. It's not worth going into. Some of you have heard it already.
But it's usually a critical phase. It's usually the two people I know had a similar thing with, and that was a real point where they gave it up. They gave up the
Exactly. And I do want to say that it's not necessary. You do not have to be a coconut head. I was just a coconut head, I was so full of myself that, I had to be I had to be picked up and shaken apart, to get the nonsense out.
Cool.
Cool, he says, I love it.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you, beautiful. Thank you for sharing this. It's so important. If you just kind of review what he said, there was so much substance in this, so thank you.